Hello everyone, welcome again to online session of monologue classes. My name is Dinesh Kumar and I am former assistant professor of law at Campus Law Center, Law Faculty, Delhi University, and presently I am working as an academic head of monologue classes. My dear students, in today's session, I will discuss with you the LA questions of the month. In these questions, I will discuss with you 5 questions based upon the legal passage as they are asked in the CLAT examination, and I will discuss some of the questions based upon the pattern of IELTS examination. So, before moving to the discussion part, there is an important announcement for all of you. Admissions are open at monologue classes for the upcoming batch of 2022 and 2023, and you may enroll yourself with our coaching institution for getting the best result. For more information, you can dial on the given number, and you may also visit our website, that is www.lawentranceindia.com. There is an important announcement for all of you. We at monologue classes are providing 15 days free trial to all the aspirants of law entrance examination, and in these 15 days free trial, all the candidates will get the following benefits. Number 1, they will get the live classes with one-to-one interaction. Second, they will get the recorded conceptual lectures on various topics. They will get the various topic tests, and they will get the various section tests. And we will also provide them their analysis of performance based on the various tests conducted by the institution. The candidate are required to do following activities. First of all, they should find the link in the description below. Next, they should locate the sign up for 15 days free trial. They should fill the form there, and you are set means concerned candidate will be eligible to get the benefit of this facility. So dear students, now we move today's topic of passage, and today's passage is related to the topic of false imprisonment. You may read the passage. Basically, this topic of false imprisonment is relevant in the IPC as well as in the tort, and some of its part is also relevant under Constitution of India. Under Constitution of India. Okay. That's why, considering the importance of this topic, I have chosen this topic, because I have seen on the basis of my previous year experience that examiner choose such kind of topic which are relevant or which are related to the various subjects. So you may read the passage quickly. This passage also provides for the liability of the government for the act committed by its servant, and that is the case of vicarious liability. Means if any tort has been committed by the servant of the government, then the servant as well as the government will also be liable for the tort committed by their servant. So, dear students, now we come to the first question of this passage, and the question number 1 is, which of the following is essential to constitute the offense of false imprisonment? Here, means, as I told you, that false imprisonment may fall either under the category of tort, and it may also fall under the category of offense. So here the examiner is asking you a question: what is the essential element of the offense of false imprisonment? So now there are 4 options before you, and option number 1 is confinement within a circumscribing limit. Option number 2, confinement only, not necessarily within a circumscribing limit. And third, restraint to move in a particular direction. And fourth, it depends upon the fact and circumstances of a particular case. And fifth option is none of the above. So, dear student, if you have gone through this passage very carefully, or if you have some basic idea regarding the false imprisonment as a tort or as an offense, then you will be able to give the answer of this question properly. So, if I throw some light upon the false imprisonment as an offense, so there is section 340 of IPC which deals with wrongful confinement. So, the another name of this false imprisonment is also a wrongful confinement. So, wrongful confinement has been defined under section 340 of IPC, and according to section 340 of IPC, the option number 1 is correct one. Got it? Now, question number 2 is, which one of the following writs can be issued in the case of false imprisonment? Means, if a person has been falsely imprisoned by any person, this person may be private person and it may also include a public servant. So, false imprisonment here means an imprisonment which is not authorized by law. So, if a person has been falsely imprisoned either by the private person or by a public authority, then which writ or which of the following writ can be issued for the release of that person? So, there are 5 options before you again, and option number 1 is prohibition, option number 2 is habeas corpus, and option number 3 is mandamus, and 4th is certiorari, and 5th is none of the above. So, if you have read the passage and if you have some basic information regarding the writs, and then you will be able to answer this question very easily. Now, the correct option is the writ of habeas corpus. So, when a person is falsely imprisoned by any other person, either by the private person or by the public servant, then court issue the writ of habeas corpus to release that person. So, the writ of habeas corpus means to produce the body, and issued by Honorable High Court under Article 226 and by Honorable Supreme Court under Article 32 of Constitution of India. So, the correct answer of this question is habeas corpus. So, now we come to the third question, and third question is little a bit technical in nature. So, it requires your previous conceptual knowledge. So, the examiner has asked the third question, that is, the expression due process of law as interpreted by Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India means. So, my dear students, you may be aware about Article 21 of Constitution of India, which provides for the right to life and personal liberty. And according to Article 21 of Constitution of India, no person shall be deprived of his right to life or personal liberty except in accordance to procedure established by law. So according to Article 21 of Constitution of India, no person shall be deprived of his right to life and personal liberty except in accordance to procedure established by law. So their word procedure established by law have been mentioned. But what happened? Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India interpreted due process clause of Constitution of United States of America. Now you have to tell me what is the correct meaning of due process clause. So there are 5 options before you, and option 1 says the procedure by which the life and personal liberty of a person is taken must be established by law. Now we come to second, the procedure by which the life and personal liberty of a person is taken must be just, fair and reasonable. Just, fair and reasonable. Third, the right to life and personal liberty of a person can be taken by an order of an executive. Fourth, the right to life and personal liberty of a person can be taken by law enacted by state legislature. And fifth is none of the above. Now, if you have gone through the case of Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India, then you would be able to answer this question correctly, and the correct option is B. Why the B? Because Honorable Supreme Court in this case held that procedure established by law as mentioned under Article 21 of the Constitution of India means the due process of law, and due process of law means that the law by which the life and personal liberty of a person must be taken or is taken, it must be just, fair and reasonable. Means जिस कानून के द्वारा किसी पर्सन की राइट टू लाइफ या उसकी पर्सनल लिबर्टी को लिया जाता है, then that procedure or that law must be just. Just means there must be speedy trial. Fair means fair trial. Means application of principle of natural justice. Application of the principles of नेचुरल जस्टिस. आप जानते हैं कि प्रिंसिपल ऑफ नेचुरल जस्टिस का एक प्रिंसिपल होता है ऑडी ऑल्ट्रम पार्टम, मींस दूसरी पार्टी को भी सुनो. इट मींस कोर्ट कैन नॉट गिव द डिसीजन merely by listening the contention of one party. Rather, it is the duty on the part of the court that it has to listen both the parties and then finally it has to give the decision. So in the given question, correct option is B. Now we come to question number 4, and question number 4 is Jed was arrested by the police in connection of the offense of theft. His trial was started on 3rd January 2013 and remained continue up to 2nd January 2020. Means उसका जो ट्रायल है वो 7 साल तक कंटिन्यू रहता है. But the maximum punishment of theft is 3 years only as per section 379 of IPC. Means कि Z का ट्रायल जो है बच्चों वो 7 years तक रहता है, लेकिन जो Z ने ऑफेंस किया है that is only punishable with 3 years only. Means ट्रायल 7 years तक चलता है, लेकिन मैक्सिमम पनिशमेंट उस ऑफेंस यानी कि थेफ्ट का जो पनिशमेंट है that is 3 years only. Now what happens? He remained in jail during this period. Means this जो 7 year का पीरियड है वो जेल में रहता है. He challenged the constitutional validity of his detention on the ground of false imprisonment. I told you the meaning of false imprisonment. It means the unlawful detention of a person, and claimed compensation from the state government. So basically क्या होता है, Z को थेफ्ट के लिए अरेस्ट किया जाता है थेफ्ट के ऑफेंस में और इसका ट्रायल, इसको जेल में डाल दिया जाता है। इसका ट्रायल स्टार्ट होता है 3 जनवरी 2013 से और ट्रायल कंटिन्यू रहता है 2 जनवरी 2020 तक। इस 7 साल के दौरान ये पर्सन जेल में रहता है। नाउ क्वेश्चन वाज दैट भाई 3 ईयर तो मैक्सिमम पनिशमेंट है और पर्सन हो गया 7 साल, उसको अभी तक जेल में हो गए हैं, बट द ट्रायल वाज स्टिल नॉट कंक्लूडेड। सो नाउ दिस पर्सन claimed, Jed claimed the compensation from the state government that he has been falsely imprisoned by the concerned authorities of the state government. Now there are 5 options before you. So these are the 5 options, and according to option number 1, Zed is not entitled to compensation since he cannot be given punishment until his trial is completed. Means according to the first option, भले ही पनिशमेंट कितना ही भी हो लेकिन जब तक ट्रायल कंक्लूड नहीं होगा तब तक पुलिस के पास ये राइट है कि द पुलिस कैन कीप ए पर्सन इनसाइड द जेल। ठीक है। सेकंड पॉइंट है, जेड इज एंटाइटल्ड टू कंपेंसेशन सिंस ही सर्व्ड द मैक्सिमम पनिशमेंट एज प्रोवाइडेड इन द लॉ इवन इफ हिज ट्रायल इज नॉट कंप्लीटेड। सो सेकंड ऑप्शन कहता है कि जेड इज एंटाइटल्ड टू कंपेंसेशन, मींस जेड को कंपेंसेशन दी जानी चाहिए। क्यों दी जानी चाहिए? क्योंकि उसने अपना जो मैक्सिमम ट्रायल का पनिशमेंट था, मैक्सिमम पनिशमेंट जो था वो उसको सर्व कर लिया है। ठीक है। थर्ड पॉइंट है, इट डिपेंड अपॉन द डिस्क्रिशन ऑफ द कोर्ट, मींस जेड कैन नॉट क्लेम एनी कंपेंसेशन बिकॉज दिस मैटर इज सब जुडिस, सो जेड विल बी बाउंड बाय द डिसीजन ऑफ ऑनरेबल कोर्ट। नेक्स्ट, इट डिपेंड अपॉन द डिस्क्रिशन ऑफ जेल ऑथोरिटीज, कि जेल अथॉरिटी उसको कब रिलीज करते हैं। इट डिपेंड अपॉन द डिस्क्रिशन ऑफ द दोज जेल अथॉरिटीज। नाउ 5 नन ऑफ द अबव। ठीक है। अब यू हैव टू टेल मी विच ऑप्शन इज करेक्ट इन द गिवन फैक्चुअल सिचुएशन। सो if you have gone through the provisions of Article 21 of Constitution of India and some provisions of CRPC, then you would be able to answer this question correctly. And the correct answer would be B, that Z is entitled to compensation. So in the given situation, Z is entitled to compensation. क्यों? क्योंकि उसका जो मैक्सिमम पनिशमेंट था उसने उसको सर्व कर दिया है। ठीक है। तो सेक्शन 436A ऑफ CRPC ये कहता है कि अगर किसी पर्सन ने अपने मैक्सिमम पनिशमेंट को सर्व कर दिया है देन ही मस्ट बी रिलीज ऑन बेल एंड ही मस्ट बी सेट फ्री। उसको छोड़ देना चाहिए, क्योंकि अगर आप उसको कन्विक्ट भी करोगे तब वो आपको, अगर वो कन्विक्ट भी हो जाता तो तब भी तो आप उसको 3 ईयर का मैक्सिमम पनिशमेंट ही देते, एंड दिस पर्सन हैज ऑलरेडी सर्व्ड द पनिशमेंट ऑफ 3 ईयर। So in the given situation, Z is entitled to compensation for the 4 extra year which he suffered in the jail. So now we come to question number 5. And question number 5 provides that A was involved in the terrorist activities and he was arrested by the officers of National Investigative Agency. So बच्चों, National Investigative Agency हमारे देश की वो एजेंसी है विच कंडक्ट इन्वेस्टिगेशन। सो नेशनल इन्वेस्टिगेटिव एजेंसी हमारे देश की वो एजेंसी है जो टेररिस्ट एक्टिविटीज में, टेररिस्ट मैटर में इन्वेस्टिगेशन करती है। सो ए वाज अरेस्टेड बाय द NIA एंड केप्ट कन्फाइंड फॉर द टाइम ऑफ 3 months। मींस NIA के ऑफिसर्स ने इसको अरेस्ट किया और इसको 3 months के लिए कन्फाइन किया, मतलब अपनी कस्टडी में रखा। बट एज पर CRPC, एनी इन्वेस्टिगेटिव एजेंसी कैन नॉट कन्फाइन ए पर्सन बियॉन्ड 24 hours सब्जेक्ट टू द टाइम टेकन इन ट्रेवलिंग। सो CRPC के प्रोविजंस के अनुसार किसी भी व्यक्ति को कोई भी इन्वेस्टिगेटिव एजेंसी 24 hours से ज्यादा कन्फाइन नहीं कर सकती, और 24 hours के बाद किसी भी इन्वेस्टिगेटिव एजेंसी को द accused person has to be produced in the court, means 24 घंटे के बाद पुलिस को accused person को कोर्ट में पेश करना होता है। ठीक है। नाउ बट सब्जेक्ट टू टाइम टेकन इन ट्रेवलिंग, मीन्स इस 24 आवर्स के टाइम में जो टाइम ट्रेवलिंग में लगता है उसको काउंट नहीं किया जाता। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, सपोज दिल्ली पुलिस किसी को अरेस्ट करने के लिए तमिलनाडु जाती है, ठीक है, और तमिलनाडु से दिल्ली आने में उसको 12 घंटे लगते हैं। सो माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स, दीज विल बी 12 प्लस 24 मीन्स टोटल 36 आवर वो पुलिस ले सकती है। नाउ बट इन द गिवन केस ही वाज केप्ट कन्फाइंड फॉर द पीरियड ऑफ 3 मंथ, इस गिवन केस में वो 3 मंथ के लिए उसको कन्फाइन रखा गया। नाउ ही हैज बीन फॉल्सली इम्प्रिजनमेंट, ठीक है, ए क्लेम्ड कंपेंसेशन that he has been falsely imprisonment by the government officer, so he claimed compensation from the government। मतलब एक ही कंटेंशन ये थी कि भाई आपके ऑफिसर्स ने मुझको 3 मंथ्स के लिए कन्फाइन करके रखा है तो मुझे इसका कंपेंसेशन दो। इट अमाउंट्स टू फॉल्स इम्प्रिजनमेंट एज पर द कंटेंशन ऑफ ए। नाउ यू हैव टू डिसाइड which option is correct. So there are again 5 options before you, and according to option A, contention of A is correct since his legal right has been violated. So option A कहता है कि A की जो contention है वो correct है, क्यों? क्योंकि उसके legal right का violation किया गया है। Second, state is not liable because there is no vicarious liability in the case of an offense. सेकेंड कहता है कि स्टेट की कोई लाइबिलिटी नहीं है क्योंकि कोई ऑफेंस के मामले में वाइकेरियस लाइबिलिटी का कंसेप्ट अप्लाई नहीं होता। नेक्स्ट, एक्शन ऑफ द ऑफिसर्स ऑफ एनआईए इज जस्टिफाइड अंडर आर्टिकल 22 ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया। थर्ड कहता है कि एनआईए के जो ऑफिसर्स का एक्शन था इट इज जस्टिफाइड अंडर आर्टिकल 22 ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया। नाउ डी, द एक्शन ऑफ officers of NIA justified under section 41 of CRPC। फोर्थ ऑप्शन कहता है कि NIA के ऑफिसर का जो एक्शन है that is justified under section 41 of CRPC। now and option fifth says none of the above। so there are 5 options before you and now you have to find out the correct one। so in the given situation, if you have some basic idea or if you have read this article 22 of Constitution of India, then you will go for this answer, because under article 22 of Constitution of India, arrest may be of two kind in normal circumstances, means जो IPC के offenses हैं, and second in terrorist activity। so in normal cases the time limit is 24 hours, but in the cases of terrorist activity the time limit is 3 months। so that is the reason here NIA officer or the government will not be held liable to pay the compensation because their action was correct as per article 22 of Constitution of India। so the correct option is C। now we come to some questions based upon the ILAT pattern। the legal principle, an attempt is an act committed in part execution of a criminal design or intent more than mere preparation but failing short of actual commission। so my dear student, as you are aware that in ILAT examination passages are not asked but such kind of questions are asked, means in which you will be given a legal principle first, then you will be given a factual situation followed by the legal principle। you have to select the various options according to the information given in the factual situation as well as in the legal principle। so first legal principle says that an attempt is an act committed in part execution of a criminal design। means attempt क्या होता है, जब कोई एक्ट किसी पार्ट एग्जीक्यूशन मीन्स कंप्लीट ऑफेंस नहीं है, किसी क्रिमिनल डिजाइन को करने के लिए उसकी तरफ कोई एक्ट किया जाता है, एंड इट इज शॉर्ट ऑफ एक्चुअल कमीशन एंड मोर देन प्रिपरेशन. Second, whoever by deceiving any person fraudulently or dishonestly induces the person so deceived to deliver any property to any person or to consent that any person shall retain any property, or intentionally induces the person so deceived to do or omit to do anything which he would not do or omit if he were not so deceived, and which act or omission causes or is likely to cause damage or harm to that person in the body, mind, reputation, property is said to cheat. So, my dear student, this is the definition of cheating as per section 415 of IPC. Now, preparation. Preparation is second stage in the commission of a crime. It means to arrange the necessary measures for the commission of the intended criminal act. Preparation क्या होती है? Preparation means arranging the means to commit an offense. जब कोई व्यक्ति कोई ऑफेंस करता है और उस ऑफेंस को करने के लिए वो जो मीजर्स होते हैं, जो आवश्यक चीजें होती हैं, उनको जुटाता है, उनको अरेंज करता है, देन वी से दैट दिस इज द स्टेज ऑफ प्रिपरेशन. नाउ वी कम टू फोर्थ लीगल प्रिंसिपल. इट प्रोवाइड्स whoever causes death by doing an act with the intention of causing death or with the intention of causing such bodily injuries is likely to cause death. Means जो कोई व्यक्ति ऐसा काम करता है जिससे कि वो किसी की डेथ कॉज करना चाहता है या ऐसी बॉडीली इंजरी कॉज करता है which is likely to cause death, जिससे कि डेथ होने की पॉसिबिलिटी है, or with the knowledge that his act is likely to cause death commits the offense of murder. तो वो ऑफेंस ऑफ मर्डर करता है. अब देखिएगा, here if you technically try to find it out, it is the definition of culpable homicide, but examiner has played the game and he has made it the definition of murder, but now you have to consider it as the definition of murder. Okay, now 5, whoever causes the death of any persons by doing any rash or negligent act shall be guilty of negligence. Means if any person does any act and he causes the death of any person by doing any rash or negligent act, he shall be guilty of negligence. उसको negligence के लिए लायबल माना जाएगा. अब देखिए यहाँ पर भी एग्जामिनर ने एक ट्रिक की है, यानी कि प्रिंसिपल और जो एक्चुअल लीगल पोजीशन है उसमें मॉडिफाई किया है, उसको मॉडिफिकेशन किया है उसका. तो यहाँ पर ये नेग्लिजेंस है, तो इट फॉल्स अंडर 304A ऑफ IPC. ठीक है. नाउ वी कम टू व्हाट क्वेश्चंस हैव बीन फ्रेम्ड बाय द एग्जामिनर. सो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज, इन विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग केसेस X is guilty of attempting to commit the offense? 4 situations are here. इन 4 situation में किस situation में एक्ट को हम अटेम्प्ट करने का दोषी मान सकते हैं, एक्यूज मान सकते हैं? सो फर्स्ट, X in order to forge a document purporting to be executed by Y send his servant to buy a stamp paper in the name of Y. As the servant reaches shop, he is arrested. ठीक है. तो यहां पर क्या होगा, पहली सिचुएशन को बताती है कि X किसी डॉक्यूमेंट के संबंध में फ्रॉड करना चाहता है और वो अपने सर्वेंट Y को उस फ्रॉड के पर्पज से किसी शॉप पर कुछ फ्रॉड से संबंधित सामान लेने के लिए भेजता है, और जैसे ही Y उस दुकान पर पहुंचता है तो उसको पुलिस ने अरेस्ट कर लिया. सो हियर क्वेश्चन अराइजेस whether X has committed any offense in the given situation. Now we come to next. X shoot at Y whose back is towards him. ठीक है. X shoot at Y whose back is towards him. Y is not hurt as he is beyond the range of the gun. ठीक है. तो अब यहां पर देखिए आप, सपोज दैट ये X है और ये Y है. Y बैक साइड से खड़ा हुआ है और एक्स के हाथ में सपोज पिस्टल है, लेकिन आप जानते हैं कि जो पिस्टल की रेंज होती है वो 25 से 50 मीटर ही होती है, और सपोज ये खड़ा हुआ है 100 मीटर की दूरी पर। तो क्वेश्चन ये आएगा कि whether he has committed any offense in the given situation or not. Now we come to next. X pours half a pint of substance from a bottle marked poison into the drink of Y. Y is not aware of it. Later it turned out that the bottle did not contain any poison. ठीक है? So थर्ड कहता है कि X एक बोतल से कुछ सब्सटेंस Y के ड्रिंक में डाल देता है, उस बोतल पर लिखा हुआ था पॉइजन, लेकिन बाद में पता चलता है कि उसमें पॉइजन नहीं था. इट वॉज मेयरली मेंशन्ड पॉइजन बट द सब्सटेंस इन द बोतल वॉज नॉट पॉइजन. नाउ X administered some noxious substance to Ria so that an abortion result. The woman was not pregnant. ठीक है, तो X एक रिया नाम की कोई गर्ल है, उसको कुछ सब्सटेंस देता है जिससे कि उसका एबॉर्शन हो जाए, लेकिन क्वेश्चन ये था कि शी वाज नॉट प्रेग्नेंट एट ऑल. देयर आर 4 ऑप्शंस बिफोर यू इन द गिवन फैक्चुअल सिचुएशन or in the given question. Now if you analyze it, it is preparation, so not punishable. Second is punishable as an attempt. ठीक है, although he was beyond the range but he may not have the knowledge of the range of the pistol, so in this situation he would be liable. ठीक है, I have the knowledge of the range of the pistol, the concerned person may not have the knowledge of the range of the pistol, so he would be liable. Third, in this case he would not be liable because it was not poison in the bottle and he also did not have any malefied intention toward the other person. In the fourth, since the girl was not pregnant at all, so no question arises of any kind of abortion. So the correct option is B. Now we come to next question. Facts. Amar applied for the post of PG teacher in a government school and submitted his application along with his degree. ठीक है, तो अमर नाम का कोई पर्सन है और उसने गवर्नमेंट पीजी पोस्ट के लिए अप्लाई किया और उसने अपने जो डॉक्यूमेंट है और डिग्री सबमिट की. He was called for the interview on 10th June 2018, but the school authorities on 10th May 2018 discovered that the copy of the degree attached with the Amar's applications are forged. Means इंटरव्यू की डेट थी 10 जून 2018, लेकिन 10th मई मीन्स एक महीने पहले कंसर्न अथॉरिटीज को ये पता चल गया कि जो अमर ने डॉक्यूमेंट्स दिए हैं, ऑल दीज डॉक्यूमेंट्स आर द फोर्ज डॉक्यूमेंट. ठीक है, मीन्स इट रिलेट टू द फोर्जरी, एंड सो द इंटरव्यू वाज कैंसल्ड. इज एनी ऑफेंस कमिटेड बाय अमर? सो बिफोर द दिस conduction of interview, his application was cancelled by the concerned authority, but he submitted the forged degrees to the concerned authority. Now question arises whether merely submission of the forged degrees to the concerned office or the concerned person is a stage of preparation or it is a stage of attempt. क्वेश्चन हमारे सामने ये है, क्या अगर कोई व्यक्ति अपने नकली डॉक्यूमेंट या फोर्स डॉक्यूमेंट सबमिट कर देता है किसी ऑफिस में या किसी कंसर्न पर्सन के पास, और तो यहाँ पर ये अटेम्प्ट माना जाएगा या केवल ये प्रिपरेशन ही मानी जाएगी? ठीक है, नाउ अमर इज गिल्टी ऑफ चीटिंग, सो गिल्टी होगा मीन्स कमीशन. अगर हम गिल्टी बोल रहे हैं तो कमीशन है, तो ये नहीं होगा. क्यों? क्योंकि हम अभी अभी उसको इंटरव्यू नहीं लिया गया था और उसको पहले ही उसकी एप्लीकेशन को कैंसिल कर दिया था। अमर इज गिल्टी ऑफ प्रिपरेशन टू चीट, नो। अमर इज गिल्टी ऑफ अटेम्प्ट टू चीट, ठीक है, एंड अमर इज नॉट गिल्टी ऑफ एनी ऑफेंस, ही इज नॉट। सो बेसिकली दिस कैन नॉट बी, क्योंकि अमर ने ऑफेंस तो किया है, बट दिस इज द करेक्ट आंसर, अमर इज गिल्टी ऑफ अटेम्प्ट टू चीट, ठीक है। सो when a person submits his forged document to any other office or concerned person, then submission falls under the definition of attempt. So in the given situation, Amar would be liable to attempt to cheat to the concerned authorities. Now we come to third question. According to this third question, X tries to pickpocket Z. Z has a loaded pistol in his pocket. Means X Z की पॉकेट में हाथ इंसर्ट करता है, ठीक है, लेकिन Z जो है, Z की पॉकेट में ऑलरेडी एक लोडेड पिस्टल है, ठीक है। X hand touches the pistol and triggers it, रिजल्टिंग इन द डेथ ऑफ Z. X के हाथ से जब X अपने हाथ को Z की पॉकेट में इंसर्ट करता है तो Z की पॉकेट में एक ऑलरेडी पिस्टल रखी हुई है और X का हाथ उस पिस्टल के ट्रिगर को उसके X के हाथ से पिस्टल का ट्रिगर दब जाता है, जिससे Z की डेथ हो जाती है। नाउ क्वेश्चन अराइजेस, व्हाट ऑफेंस हैज बीन कमिटेड बाय X in the given situation? So there are these four options with you. X is guilty of causing Z's murder. X is guilty of culpable homicide by negligence. X is guilty of causing grievous hurt, and X is guilty of pickpocketing. So it says murder, but it is not murder. Why? Essential elements of section 300 are not fulfilled, ठीक है। अब क्योंकि 300 के एसेंशियल एलिमेंट फुलफिल नहीं है तो हम डेथ के लिए, मर्डर के लिए नहीं मानेंगे। सिमिलरली इट इज गिल्टी ऑफ कल्पेबल होमिसाइड, एसेंशियल एलिमेंट ऑफ 299 आर नॉट फुलफिल्ड, ठीक है। बट this X is guilty of grievous hurt? No, because essential elements of 320 are not fulfilled. Now we come to pickpocketing. He would be liable under section 511 of IPC because he was having intentions to pick the pocket of the Z and he did not have the intentions to cause the death of the Z. So in the given situation, he will only be liable for attempt to pickpocketing of the Z and not for the murder or culpable homicide of the Z. So, dear students, I have attached the answer keys of all these questions, this CLAT passage as well as IELTS questions. If you have any doubt regarding these answers or any questions, you may mention in the comment box and I will reply you shortly. Okay? So that's all for today. Please take care of yourself and work hard to get the success. I will come again with the next LA questions of the month. Till then, goodbye.